Good evening, everybody. We're going to get underway, so I would please ask that you take your seats. Welcome to our 40th induction ceremony. My name is Jana Henry, and I'm the Executive Director of the Sports Hall of Fame. This evening, in honor of sports excellence, is a celebration of our rich and proud sports heritage, and the moment when we officially induct the class of 2023 into the Hall of Fame. As we begin our festivities, I would like to acknowledge that we are holding our celebrations on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people, and this is where they and many other peoples have gathered for time immemorial. This sacred place is now also the treaty territory of the Fort William First Nation people, who signed the Robinson Superior Treaty in 1850. We also acknowledge the contributions of the Métis peoples to our community. We would also like to acknowledge that today is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, and we recognize the important role that we have in helping to provide public education about the Aboriginal stories of athletes in our history. We are proud to include amongst our honored members Aboriginal athletes and builders, and we look forward to continuing to preserve and celebrate their stories now and into the future. This year's induction ceremony, as I mentioned, is our 40th, and with the induction of tonight's class of inductees, we will have welcomed 186 athletes, 98 builders, and 52 teams into the Hall of Fame. Throughout the evening, in recognition of their contributions to our region's sports heritage, the names and images of all of our honored members will be shown on the screens. The concept for the creation of the Sports Hall of Fame actually began back in the mid-1970s. We opened our doors in our original location in 1978 on the top floor of Twin Haven School. Today, we are so proud to be operating an entire building that houses a sports museum and Hall of Fame on May Street in downtown Thunder Bay South. We serve as a tourist attraction, an educational center, and a place to permanently honor the accomplishments of our fellow citizens. So to give you a sense of some of the great moments from our sporting past, we put together something to remind us all just how much we have to be proud of living here in Northwestern Ontario.
Sport inspires us to be our best. Sport teaches us to dream about the possibilities of what can happen through dedication and hard work. It was such a dream that led to the creation of the Northwestern Ontario Sports Hall of Fame, a place to preserve and honor the rich sports heritage of our region. And what a proud history that has been.
Save by St. Croix, two dandies. In the last minute of this opening period, Rick St. Croix.
Yes, Jeff Curry breathes a sigh of relief as he heads back with a beautiful pick of the Manitoba Stone.
Continuing the momentum, important for the national team. A hard-working job. 198-pound Steve Danier, a well-deserved gold medal.
Well, Kurt Harnett had seen it done, and now he does it to Gary Newan. Kurt Harnett to the finish, a bronze medal for Canada.
Vernon Linklater representing Canada.
With 8,525 points, Michael Smith representing Canada.
There is one strikeout away. Here comes the pitch, the swing and a miss, and it's all over. Thunder Bay Continental All-Stars go out to Mob.
The final rock of the 10th inning.
Oh, it's a Can you believe that?
The Northwestern Ontario Sports Hall of Fame. It's about pride. It's about moments in time. It's about memories. It's the place where legends live on.
And now, please join me in welcoming into the ballroom our 2023 inductees, starting with a standout on the links at the regional, university, provincial, and national level, the pride of Red Rock and Nippigan, Bill Seagris. sport, in the truest sense of the word, who has dedicated himself to sports leadership from the 1970s to the present day, Peter Gallagher. A longtime hockey coach who learned the game in Thunder Bay and already has 2 Stanley Cup rings in his collection, and he almost added another one last June, Jamie Kompon. A longtime sports broadcaster who started out covering sports at the Lakehead and went on to bring back stories from the wide world of sports, Peter Young. And a history-making team that won our region's first, and so far only, national women's hockey title, the members of the 2010 Thunder Bay Queens Esso Cup champions, starting with number 16, Amber Butler. Number 21, Kylie Cornell. Number 10, Michaela Coulter. Number 14, Haleigh Cronk. Number 17, Savanna Gamache. Number 7, and the team captain, Jana Henry. Number 11, Heroux. Number 4, Brianna Iazzolino. Number 35, Leikkari. Number 30, Amanda Makela. Number 12, assistant captain, Kaitlyn Quarrell. Number 18, Taylor Savard. Number 5, Courtney Tougas. Number 9, Kaitlyn Tougas. And representing assistant captain, Brittany Zuback, who could not be here tonight, is her very proud brother, Adam Zuback. Behind the bench, trainer and manager, Crystal Tustian. Assistant coach, Randy LaPointe. Assistant coach, Denis Lavoie. And the coach of this national championship team, Denis Lavoie. Unable to attend this evening are inductees Ryan Parent and Queens players Haleigh Croves and Michela Cava, but they send their best wishes. Ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause for our 2023 inductees. And I would ask you to remain standing because I'm going to call to the stage one of Thunder Bay's best vocalists, Denise Krawchuk, who has been singing our national anthem almost for 40 years. I think it's 37. And you'll see when she finishes or when she even starts why we keep asking her back. Ladies and gentlemen, Denise Krawchuk.
Oh
Thank you. Please be seated. I told ya, she's pretty amazing. The Sports Hall of Fame is a nonprofit organization. It's governed by a board of directors of 15 dedicated volunteers. We're fortunate to be led by a 4-time Hall of Fame inductee. Please welcome the president of the Hall of Fame, Dave Siciliano.
That's a hard act to follow. Great singing. The video always makes me wonder about the quality of people that we have in this great community and in Northwestern Ontario. Most people would, the younger people anyway, would come up with their iPad or phone and have everything written on there. I'm still a little archaic. I got it here in notes. So, good evening, everybody. On behalf of the board of directors, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to our 40th annual induction dinner. This event would not be possible without the support of our sponsors, donors, and of course all of you here this evening. A special thanks goes out to Tibet Tao, who has returned as our presenting sponsor again this year. And the City of Thunder Bay is also a great supporter of the Hall of Fame, and we are honored to have Mayor Ken Boshkoff here with us this evening. We're also honored to have Marcus Pawlowski, MP for Thunder Bay Rainy River, and the Honorable Patty Heroux, Minister of Indigenous Services and Minister responsible for FedNor. We'd like to thank them for their support that we receive each year from the federal government to help us hire our summer students. And thank you as well to the fellow board members, many of whom are here this evening, and our selection committee that brings us all the inductees. Their great efforts to do so. And of course, a big vote of thanks to our staff, Diane, unbelievable person, unbelievable executive director, and Kate Dyer, our what does she do again? Curator.
She does everything.
I just know as her as she's the assistant. And Judy Gary, who is, I'd say, the jack of all trades, but the Judy of all trades. She does everything. She's great. Without their efforts, none of this would be possible. They make the board and myself look very, very good. If you ever have a chance to visit our Hall of Fame, I think you'd be very impressed. It's not huge, but it's got the memorabilia, artifacts and such that represent many, many of the things that you saw on the screen earlier. It's located behind the City Hall, and of course, Diane or Kate would be more than willing to show you around. Also, this induction dinner and our hall are something that we're very, very proud of. I've been around to a number of communities, had a chance to visit their facility and hear about their induction dinner, what they do for the inductees, and it's not even close to what we do unless it's at a provincial or even a national level. So we're very, very proud of what we've got here to honor all of the inductees in the past and certainly for this evening. We have another great slate of inductees to honor this evening. Every year is the same. It's amazing the number of talented athletes, builders, and coaches that originate from Northwestern Ontario, considering the size of our population. And all you have to do is look in that handbook and see the names and the accomplishments. It truly is amazing. Further, I have the honor and the privilege of calling each of the inductees to tell them that they have been selected by the selection committee for this year's Hall of Fame. I have had great excitement and joy when I have a chance to hear and sense what from them during my call, and it's very, very rewarding. For example, some of the comments I've gotten, and I'm not just saying this year, so I'm not pointing you out as inductees, but over the years, because I've done this for a while, and it's really been quite a lot of fun, actually. Some of the comments I do get For instance, you're kidding me. Who? Me? Wow. I never believed I would be chosen. Quite an honor. What, is no one else available? I'm so honored, especially knowing the quality of the inductees. I'm so thrilled, cannot wait to tell my family, thank you very much. But the one that always happens that's really interesting is, and I've heard it a few times, well, it's about time. So, and it is about time, no question, for each of our inductees this evening and the ones in the past for sure. So congratulations to all our 2023 inductees. We're so pleased that you're becoming the newest inductees of our Sports Hall of Fame. Certainly a most deserving honor. And thank you, everybody, for coming out this evening to celebrate with probably a particular inductee that's here this evening. It's our 40th class. We missed the year, of course. Otherwise, it'd be 41. But everybody here in this room is extremely proud of our inductees this year. So everybody have a great evening, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. As Dave mentioned, we've been very fortunate to have received the support of the Government of Canada for many years, which has allowed us to hire summer students, which actually is how I was hired many, many, many years ago. And of course, more recently, we were thankful for their financial assistance, which got us through some very challenging times. We're very pleased to have with us tonight the MP for Thunder Bay Superior North, the Minister of Indigenous Services and Minister responsible for FedNor, the Honourable Patty Heroux.
Well, thank you very much, Diane, and what a true honor and joy to be with you here on the traditional territory of Fort William First Nation, and thank you to the Sports Hall of Fame for acknowledging the 3rd Annual Truth and Reconciliation Day. I spent my day with Indigenous partners across the region. It was really a moving day, and I'm so grateful to hold this portfolio on behalf of the Government of Canada. I also, I'm so grateful to be here. Denise, to hear you sing O Canada. Almost 40 years you've been singing O Canada, apparently, for this event, but I've heard Denise sing in other spaces, and I have to say that I'm a proud Canadian, and when I hear O Canada, it's often very moving, but it can also be kind of boring sometimes, as you know, with the wrong singer or when they play recordings of O Canada. But when you sing O Canada, it brings tears to my eyes, and I want you to know that we're so grateful. Thank you very much. My colleague Marcus is here somewhere. I don't know where he is, but if he's here, wave. Marcus is a huge supporter of the sports, and I'm really honored to serve with him every day. And of course, Mayor Boshkoff's at my table, and he will be having a few words in a moment, so I won't speak for you, Mayor. I know that you've got lots of things to say. Really, I'm here to say thank you. Thank you for continuing to acknowledge the excellence in sports that our region demonstrates, not just to Canada, but to the world. And I can't tell you how many times I introduce myself and say that I'm from Thunder Bay or Northwestern Ontario, and people start to rhyme off athletes from all different kinds of sports and say, oh my gosh, do you know so-and-so? Do you know so-and-so? And most of the times I don't know them personally. I know of them. But I'm always so proud to be from a region so rich in sports excellence. And I want to thank everyone who not only is an athlete, but the people that support them. Like, how many people have children that put up their hand and say they want to be the next, world-class golf pro or the next fantastic hockey? My partner Paul's laughing because he knows exactly who I'm talking about right now. We've all had children that aspire to greatness when they see athletes, but we know how much work it actually takes to become great. It's a hard slog. It's hours and hours and hours of practice and repetition and commitment and tears and frustration and winning, of course. And it's also the love of family and the love of coaches and the love of adult mentors around them that keep that spirit alive in each of those young people and older people who pursue this excellence. So This event is a celebration of that. It's a celebration of the dedication and perseverance of every single athlete. It is also a celebration of the community that comes together to foster that talent and support that talent. I'm super proud to be part of a community that, for example, is the genesis of Pro Kids that allows so many young people to experience sports in our community that otherwise might not be possible. And you know that every young person that has that chance, that's surrounded by people like you, has that spark, can go on to achieve great things. So it's an honor to be part of this occasion. It's an honor to be here every year to meet and to listen to the stories of the inductees. And I do want to present tonight, on behalf of me as the Member of Parliament and the Minister of all the things you said, a certificate for your 40th anniversary. So Diane and Dave, who has left already, Dave Siciliano, as the President, please accept the certificate in acknowledgement of the incredible contributions you make to recognizing our athletes here in Northwestern Ontario.
Thank you so much. As Patty mentioned, we are also pleased this evening to have with us the Mayor of Thunder Bay, Ken Boshkoff, who has supported us in all of his various roles politically and also personally, and we would very, very much appreciate that support. The city supports us financially. They also provide us with this wonderful heritage building that we operate out of. Please welcome our Mayor, Ken Boshkoff.
Excuse us. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Diane. Organizers, volunteers, sponsors, everybody, all the athletes here, the teams, Honorable Patty, and she was absolutely right on the buttons. Stellar vocals as per normal. So Denise, you are a champion. Is there a trophy for? No. So now there's planting the seed for something. And as we watch that great video, you can't help but be proud of your community, proud of your athletes, proud of the region, really, because all of the Northwest, really, we're a giant team when it comes to that, and I think we're quite formidable when you talk about the amount of sharing and the fact that our young people can go to another community and participate. So our sports legacy is quite enviable. And as some of the speakers mentioned, it is something that people know right away, whether it doesn't matter what sport, hockey or curling, it goes all across all of them. And that enviable sports legacy, thank goodness we have a Sports Hall of Fame. Not only that we can keep those treasures, but we can do events like this that help us celebrate and realize how much we have to be proud of. So I'm so glad to be here tonight. It's just good to see humans again, and let's enjoy the evening and celebrate our athletes' traditions. Champions.
Thank you very much, Ken. We're very fortunate to receive a lot of support from our local and regional media. To be honest, we couldn't do our job without them reporting on the stories so that we can celebrate them years later. I would just like to acknowledge Brian Wyatt, News and Sports Director, CKPR and Rock 94 Radio. Brian, thank you. You'll hear a little later that Brian does some other volunteer work for us. Also, the Chronicle Journal once again ran our columns this week, celebrating all of our 2023 inductees. And their sports editor, Ruben Villagracia, is here. Ruben, thank you very much. And Thunder Bay Television, also a wonderful supporter of us, and one of their reporters will be here later as well. Dave already mentioned the incredible volunteerism that happens at the Sports Hall of Fame, when we really could not do it without them. As a staff person, we rely on our volunteers for a lot of different things, and we just are so happy that they volunteer their time to help us out. You already saw one of our videos, and as you'll see, this is quite a show we're putting on tonight. And again, none of that could happen without the talents and the dedication of Chris Fisick and his team at Maverick Entertainment. Chris, thank you very much for all that you do. To Russell Krawchuk from Applause Productions as well, thank you. John Sims has been our official photographer for many, many years. And he records this so that we are able to look back at those pictures, which we'll be posting. You'll see them online. Dave also mentioned someone who I just have to give another shout out to. She really is the brains behind the entire organization. She works tirelessly, and none of this would happen without Kate Dwyer. Where are you, Kate? She's likely hiding out back. She truly is dedicated to her job, and she just makes sure that all of this happens. So we're very grateful to her. Each year, we take a moment to acknowledge and remember those honored members who have passed away since we last gathered together. I'd ask that you please turn your attention to the screens and join me in honoring in silence the memory of those who we have recently lost. Their legacies will now live on in the Sports Hall of Fame, which we are honored to have that opportunity to do. I now ask you to please bow your heads as we give thanks. Bless us for this food, which we are about to receive, and make us forever mindful of the needs of others and the importance in our lives of our family and of our friends. And thank you for bringing us safely here this evening to join together in celebration and friendship. Amen. I'll now turn it over to the Valhalla, and we will be back at the podium after dinner. Enjoy your dinner, and we look forward to another rest of the evening. Thank you. So as we saw through dinner, the images that were shown, we have an amazing amount of honored members in our Sports Hall of Fame, a very impressive list. And each year, a number of them come back to welcome in the newest class of inductees. I'm going to call all of the names of the folks who are here, and as I do, please stand. If you are able, give a wave so that people know where you are. Now, I always ask every year to please hold your applause until the end. Nobody ever does. So by all means, please feel free to applaud as you hear their names. In the athlete category, a champion runner and a Canadian champion Little Leaguer and a proud Red Rockian, Dallas Allaire. That's his Red Rock cheering section. An Olympic wrestler, I think actually he may have had to leave, but an Olympic wrestler who still has his eyes on making an Olympic comeback, Steve Danier. Is he here? Yeah. There he is. Hey, Steve. A world-class parachutist and all-around athlete who had an amazing career in athletics and is also a great golfer, and I say that every year because I'm still golfing with Kathy every Thursday, Kathy Kangas. It's at the back there, she is. And a standout on the judo and wrestling mats from Dryden, Ron Lappage is here this evening. In our builder category, a coach to many athletes in many sports, and I imagine to many in this room, Harry Curtis. A longtime curling coach of Olympic caliber who continues to be a mentor for our youth curlers, Dick Henderson. He's at the back there. And another proud Red Rockian, I'm just making up that name, by the way, he was a curling coach to many people, Monty Kerr. Monty. And a longtime hockey coach in Manitouwadge, Bob Keys, is here with us tonight. and a skier volunteer over many years at many levels, including the Olympics, Al Maddox. And a volunteer in both golf and curling who continues to be involved, even though he said at his induction in 2013, 10 years ago, he was retiring, Brian Mallon. A truly dedicated builder and proud Drydenite, Bill Salonen, is here tonight with us. Welcome, Bill. And of course, the president of the Hall of Fame, who's a 4-time inductee, Dave Siciliano. A number of team members are also here. The assistant coach of the 1991-92 Thunder Bay Flyers Centennial Cup champions, Doug Colbin. A member of the 1987-88 Allen Cup champion, Thunder Bay Twins, Carrie Goulet. Gooch, I understand. Manager of the 1966 Fort William American Senior Little League Canadian Championship team, Larry Hebert. A member of the 1974 Fort William National International Senior Little League Canadian Championship team, and a very proud uncle tonight, Doug Henry. A 2-time Canadian and World Curling champ, and also a proud Red Rockian, Heather Houston is here this night. And a 2-time Allen Cup champion with the 88 and 89 Thunder Bay Twins, who shares being in the Hall of Fame with his father, Bob, Jim Keys. And with the 1968 Fort William National Little League team, national champions, who's a very proud cousin today, I think you're a cousin, Joe Kompon. There's Joe. And also with the 87-88 Allen Cup winning Thunder Bay Twins, who is also on our Hall of Fame board, Scott Masters. So I believe I remembered everybody. I'm hoping. I would now ask for all of our honor members to please stand as a group and receive the recognition so definitely deserved. It's now my great pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremonies for the official induction of the class of 2023. I've just told you, he's a 2-time Hall of Fame inductee, individually as an athlete, and as part of the 1975 Port Arthur Continental's Major Little League Baseball team, who spends his time enjoying retirement in the beautiful town of Red Rock. He served for many years as a volunteer with the Hall of Fame, and also has served as the chairman at one time of our selection committee. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming a great friend of the Sports Hall of Fame and a great Master of Ceremonies, Dallas Allaire.
Need glasses. Thank you, Diane. It is my great honor to serve as the Master of Ceremonies as we welcome the class of 2023 into the Hall of Fame. Our 2023 inductees represent a number of different sports and communities from across our region. Their accomplishments have brought us great pride, and tonight we have the opportunity to thank them for all that they have done and ensure that future generations will know the role that they have played in our proud sports heritage. Through the magic of technology and the hard work of Diane Imrie and Chris Fissick and his team at Maverick Entertainment, we're able to step back and relive the accomplishments of our 2023 inductees. So let's begin by taking a look back at our first inductee in the athlete category, a golfer who enjoyed a successful amateur career, which all began in Red Rock.
This exceptional amateur golfer developed his skills while growing up in Red Rock during the 1980s and never looked back. His first taste of success came when he helped the Nipigon Red Rock District High School golf team win the North Shore Secondary School Athletic Association Championship after a decade-long drought. He soon started making a name for himself in junior golf circles and claimed victories and competing at the Ontario and Canadian Junior Championships. Attending the University of Windsor, he made a significant contribution to the men's varsity golf program and also played hockey during his student career. His success in Ontario inter-university golf was record-setting, winning the 1992, 1993, and 1994 Ontario University Individual Golf Award, the first three-time consecutive winner in the over 75-year history. Helping lead the Lancers to 3 OUA team titles, he was invited to represent the school at the 1995 University of St. Andrews Golf Tournament at the Old Course, and that featured teams from around the world, and he placed 11th out of 72. Awarded the Olympic Shield as Male Athlete of the Year for golf in 1993-94, he was also named MVP for each of the 4 years that he was a Windsor team member. After graduation, he continued to devote his time to Lancer sports, serving as an assistant coach for its golf and hockey programs, and was inducted into their Hall of Fame in 2005. In addition to his exceptional scholastic golf career, Bill truly dominated throughout the Thunder Bay District for much of the 1990s and early 2000s, with his name etched on numerous tournament trophies and often multiple times. Included in over 40 tournament victories are 11 Amadeo Memorial, 7 North Shore Open, 6 Bergstrom, 6 Thunder Bay Country Club, and 2 Strathcona Invitational titles. A 5-time Thunder Bay District Open champion and a 2001 District Amateur winner, he was named Player of the Year in 2001 and in 2003 and earned entry into their Hall of Fame in 2019. Competing across Ontario, he cracked the top 5 in rankings and claimed multiple club invitational championships. Participating in a dozen Ontario Amateur Championships, he earned runner-up honors in 2004. And in the U.S., he claimed victory at the 2001 Arrowhead Invitational in Duluth, Minnesota, and in 2007 was the only Canadian to qualify for competing in the Mid-Amateur in Oregon. A back-to-back winner of New Brunswick's prestigious Barrett Amateur in 2006 and 2007, he was also runner-up in its provincial amateur championships in 2008. When Thunder Bay hosted the 2001 Canadian Tour Ontario Open Heritage Classic, he carded the lowest score by an amateur at that event. Competing in a total of 9 Canadian Amateur Championships, his appearance at the 2000 event at the Glendale Golf and Country Club in Edmonton made headlines. Having his club stolen out of his car just a day prior to the start, he was forced to play with borrowed clubs from the pro shop. Now, not only did he make the cut, he made it all the way to the semifinals, going on to place 3rd overall. It was one of the best ever showings by a golfer from Northwestern Ontario at that national event. Continuing to dominate tournaments during the 2000s, Bill closed out the decade in style, a record-setting victory at the 2009 Early Bird in St. Thomas, one of the longest-running men's tournaments in the province. With 5 wins to his credit, he had won the most ever, surpassing the likes of Mo Norman with 3 and Gary Cowan with 4. Throughout a large part of his career, it was his father Neil who was on the bag as his caddy, and although not on the course with him physically, his many fans in his hometown of Red Rock were also with him in spirit, cheering him on as they followed his time on the links with great pride.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the Northwestern Ontario Sports Hall of Fame, Bill Seagris. Bill has traveled from Amherstburg, just outside of Windsor, to be here tonight. Here to celebrate with him is his proud mom, Sheila, and family and friends from the communities of Red Rock and Nipigon, and some fellow golfers. We have also received some messages for Bill. The first one says, "Congratulations, Bill, on your induction into the Northwestern Ontario Sports Hall of Fame. I had the good fortune of being able to observe and play golf with you in your formative years at the North Shore Golf Club. I have great memories of the many hours spent playing, practicing, and working on your clubs. I certainly recall a lot of great shots over the years. One in particular had you under a pine tree behind the #1 green in Terrace Bay. Down on your knees, with your back to the green, you managed to scuttle the ball along the ground, over the hill to about 3 feet from the hole. You went on to tie the hole and eventually win the tournament. That was great, but the most memorable occurred at the Bergstrom in Geraldton, where a perfectly struck 5-iron came inches away from going through that open window and leaving a perfect golf ball-sized hole in that old wooden door. Perfect divot out of the living room rug, too. The things a guy will do on a dare. Wish I could be there on this special occasion. I'm sure glad I was along for part of the ride. Congrats, Bill, and that's from Larry and Linda Stanzel. Okay, and message number 2. I first met Bill when I became the varsity golf coach at the University of Windsor. Bill was the pillar that we built that program around. Most of all, Bill was a team leader. He inspired and encouraged his teammates, and as a result, our team won 3 Ontario championships and 2 runner-up honors during Bill's 5-year career. In addition to playing varsity golf, Bill played a key role on the University of Windsor hockey team. His accomplishments as a stellar 2-sport athlete led him to be named the University of Windsor Male Athlete of the Year in his graduating year. And once he became eligible, earned him immediate induction into the University of Windsor Alumni Sports Hall of Fame in the athlete category. I had the extreme honor of introducing him on the occasion of his induction, and it remains a career highlight for me. I also want to congratulate Bill and his family on this honor and let him know how proud I am of him, his character, and his achievements, and that's from Jim Weiss, the former dean and acting athletic director from the University of Windsor. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Seagris.
Thank you, everyone. I think there were a couple pictures and maybe one story that shouldn't have made it into the conversation tonight. But thank you for inviting me back to Thunder Bay. It's a quick trip and certainly a very enjoyable trip down memory lane. So again, Dave, I appreciate the call. Total surprise, but thank you. Diane and Kate as well, just working with you from a distance. You've been phenomenal and very informative, and I see all that you do throughout the year to make this evening such a great production and an honor. I sat on this speech for a couple weeks before drafting it and thinking, what do I say tonight? But I guess the answer was quite clear, and that is to say thank you to all of the people who've had such a positive influence on me over the years, including Dr. Weiss. More than just the dean and my golf coach, just a great friend and mentor in life. But so I want to thank some people not here tonight and also those who are in attendance, because you've really had special meaning in my life and in my, I guess, golf career. So first and foremost, my mom and dad. Dad's not here, but you know, the hours that we spent traveling, I've got them. I've got those memories in my mind and will always have them. And so I know he would have been proud tonight, and I would have liked to have shared tonight with him. My mom, 82, seems to be my traveling companion. I get away with nothing. She still continues to parent, but Mom, I love you. My Uncle George, we got out and golfed both yesterday and today, and I'm amazed at just how well he plays. And you know, you need to know, as a kid, when we would get the call, and you told us you were coming down to Red Rock on a Sunday, how exciting that was for me. You know, you were the first one to for me to play the game of golf at a high level, and every opportunity that you came, or every time you came down was another opportunity for me to prove to you that I was getting better. Uncle George, I love you. Thank you for being here. Tony Stokaluk, again, Tony was somebody I idolized for so many years as I started to develop. The nights at his house, listening to the jukebox in his basement and reading his scrapbooks of his golf accomplishments, it was inspiration. So Tony, when he played with us yesterday, Tony's been very, very instrumental in my growth as a golfer. Kenny Hanley out of Terrace Bay. If I went east, it meant I had to face Kenny Hanley down the North Shore, Terrace Bay, Geraldton, Marathon. And you know what? Kenny was a true gentleman, and you would never know if he won the tournament or lost the tournament. He carried himself so well, and he was a great model for a young person to watch. Mark Willinen, again, played with Mark yesterday. Moving from Red Rock, Mark, coming into the city, I do believe you were the first one that truly opened the doors for me and invited me in the city. And that included like going to Geraldton with Bruce Defoe and Mark Humphrey. And you and I played a lot of team golf together. Your camp was always open to me during the Strathcona tournament. I appreciate it, and I only ask, or I only hope that I was as good a friend to you as you were to me. So thank you, Mark. Trevor Jones, top player when I was growing up, somebody that you had to go through if you wanted to succeed, and made me a better player. There's no doubt about it. So thank you, Trevor. Peter Lovis, another one. Like you think you climb the mountain and maybe get to the top, but there's always somebody there. Peter Lovis made it look easy. When he was winning golf tournaments, you had to shoot under par, and that helped me take it to another level again. So thank you, Peter. And I see Barry Kaland out there. Maybe at some point in time I was regarded as maybe the top player. I beg to differ, because I think Barry was there, and I think Robert Cumming was there, and you had already won big before I won big. And I knew, again, to have any success in the region, it had to go through yourself and Robert. I enjoyed our time. You opened your doors to me. You even traveled out to the East Coast, and we played nationally together. Thank you so much. And I was at Strathcona yesterday. The two of their names are littered all over the wall. Club championships in Strathcona. So congratulations on your own golf career. I will never be able to repay the Thunder Bay District Golf Association and the North Shore Golf Course for all of their support over the years. I truly enjoyed doing what I was doing, and was lucky to have your support. Didn't matter where I was, whether I was hitting a tee shot off the cliffs of the Pacific Ocean in Bandon, Oregon, whether I was being windswept in the links out in PEI, or whether I was trying to hit over the letter O in the word hotel at the old course in St. Andrews. I knew where I was from. I never forgot it, and I knew where the support was from, or who was providing the support, and I thank you truly. And I just want to finish off by saying, my family, my wife and my 4 children, we moved to our community 16 years ago. And periodically, someone will say, you live in Amherstburg, but you're not really from Amherstburg. And when they used to say that, I would think, geez, like who would say such a thing? That's not really polite. But as years have passed, I've come to realize maybe the clarity in that statement. And, I think to myself, I do live in Southern Ontario, but I'm from the Thunder Bay region. My house is in Amherstburg, but my home is Red Rock. And I'm damn proud of that. And I just want to thank everybody for being here tonight to, give me this honor, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Just have a seat.
We will now take a look at the career of our next inductee, an athlete who went from the rinks of Sioux Lookout to the NHL.
Growing up in Sioux Lookout during the 1990s, this future NHLer was involved in a variety of sports, but it was in hockey that his talents truly shone. A standout as he made his way up through the minor system, he advanced to the defensive line of the Thunder Bay AAA Kings Bantams. From there, it was on to the Waterloo Siskins Junior B, which was the start of his impressive junior career. A first-round draft pick of the Guelph Storm of the Ontario League, going 8th overall, he was part of the 2004 OHL title and Memorial Cup run in his first season and earned Rookie of the Year honors. And during his 4 years, he earned numerous awards, including being selected as the OHL Best Defenseman, participating in the OHL All-Star Classic, and he was named captain of the team in this final season. His strong leadership skills also saw him picked as captain of other teams, including Team Ontario, which won gold at the 2004 World Under-17 Challenge, and Team Canada, which claimed silver at Under-18 Championships. Ryan also guarded the blue line for Team Canada as part of back-to-back gold medal-winning 2006 and 2007 World Junior squads. Selected by the Nashville Predators in the first round, he went 18th overall in the 2005 entry draft, and he got his first taste of pro hockey, being called up to play for their AHL affiliate, the Milwaukee Admirals, during the 2006 Calder Cup playoffs. Traded by Nashville to the Philadelphia Flyers as part of their Peter Forsberg deal, he made his NHL debut with that team in April of 2007. Splitting his time between the AHL affiliate, the Philadelphia Phantoms, he skated in over 100 NHL games, including 27 Stanley Cup playoff games during 2008, 2009, and as part of the Flyers' 2010 Stanley Cup final run. After time in the AHL, which included 252 games, he retired from his pro career following the 2016 season. Moving behind the bench, he served as an assistant coach in the AHL with the New Jersey Devils affiliate, Binghamton Devils, and Utica Comets. There's little doubt about the level of pride Sioux Lookout has for its hockey hero, from the junior to the pro ranks. Serving as a role model for other young athletes from that community, he has allowed them to dream that one day they may also win gold for Canada and make it to the NHL.
We are pleased to welcome Ryan Parent into the Sports Hall of Fame, but unfortunately he is unable to be in attendance this evening as he is currently coaching and could not make the trip. But he sent along a message, and this is from Ryan. Thank you for the induction into the Northwestern Ontario Sports Hall of Fame. More importantly, thank you for the tremendous amount of work, not only for this evening, but throughout the year that is done to commemorate the local teams, builders, and athletes. Congratulations to the Queens, Bill Seagris, Peter Gallagher, Jamie Kompon, and Peter Young. I hope you are enjoying the celebration among your family and friends. I'd like to thank Frank Batstone for my nomination. I'm truly humbled to be recognized among the past and present inductees. Once I was notified that I was being inducted, I discovered the list of inductees and spent time going through the names and accomplishments. I was proud to see the range of people from Northwestern Ontario that have had success all around the world. I am proud that I'm able to represent Sioux Lookout in the Hall of Fame. I have received a ton of support throughout my entire career from my community. I wish I had been able to be there tonight, but I will make sure I visit the Hall of Fame the next time I'm in Thunder Bay. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and that's from Ryan. So we'll move on. Our first builder of the evening has dedicated himself to many different sports over many years, and he continues to do so.
Since his arrival in Thunder Bay in the 1970s to the present day, this exceptional builder of sport has dedicated himself to supporting a variety of different activities at all levels of competition and participation. It was while growing up in Ottawa he got involved in sport, and although demonstrating early signs of athletic ability, he's the first to admit that his future was much better suited to the building side of the game. Serving as a coach with the Fort William Collegiate Junior Football Team in 1975, he would spend the next 5 decades taking on many leadership roles in his newly adopted home. His commitment to youth athletics saw him involved with the Grandview Recreation Hockey Association during the 80s and 90s, serving as president, convener, referee, and coach. He took on similar roles during his close to 15-year involvement with the Port Arthur Continental Little League program from the 90s to the 2000s, and volunteer pool soccer teams and the Thunder Bay Squash Association Junior Development Program also benefited from his leadership skills, as did Pro Kids, which had him serve on its board for over a decade. The race director of the Heart of Thunder Bay races between 1981 and 90 and president of the Thunder Bay Striders Running Club, he continues to serve the running community, helping to organize the course setup for the firefighters' Victoria Day 10-mile road race, and a position that he's held for many years. Whenever a major sporting event has been held in Thunder Bay, this exceptional builder is often called upon to lend his talents. The 1981 Canada Summer Games saw him as part of the Athletes Village Coordinating Committee. Other leadership roles have included serving as the co-chair of the 1988 Calgary Winter Olympic Games torch relay in Thunder Bay, chair of the Sport Technical Committee for the 1993 Ontario Games for the physically disabled, venue manager of Baseball Central for the 2010 World Junior Baseball Championships, chair of snowshoeing for the 2011 Ontario Special Olympics, and chair of marshals and spotters for the Stahl Foundation Open Golf Tournament between 2014 and 2018. A longtime board member of the Thunder Bay Nordic Trails, he has been involved with the Sibley Ski Tour Sleeping Giant Loppet since the 1980s, serving as a coordinator of this popular cross-country skiing event for many years, a position that he holds to this day.
We promise fantastic weather every year, and this year we held to that promise, but it's the camaraderie. People love to cross-country ski, but when you're doing that, you're usually out there by yourself. But here, you with 700 other people, and you come across the finish line, your friends are cheering for you, and it's just a family fun event.
In addition to his volunteer efforts, his career path as a longtime educator at Confederation College saw him introduce a multitude of students to a variety of sport and recreational activities. His efforts have not gone unnoticed, as he has been recognized with outstanding achievement awards from the City of Thunder Bay, the Province of Ontario, and the Government of Canada. Throughout his many years of involvement in sport, Peter Gallagher has always been that person who would step up to take on leadership roles when they needed them most, making him a builder of sport in the truest sense of the word.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the Northwestern Ontario Sports Hall of Fame, Peter Gallagher. Peter is here tonight with his wife Corinne and son Michael, and he also had a surprise visit from his brother Keith. Many friends are also here tonight to celebrate with Peter. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Gallagher.
Sure. Thanks, Dallas. Now, I'm not quite as old as Dave Siciliano, but I too have my speech on a piece of paper, not on anything other than electronic. Many people, as Dave said, received the notification from him via telephone, but I received it in person as we played together at the Fort William Country Club. I'm not sure whether we were standing at the urinal when he came up to tell me that I was inducted. Maybe that's why we didn't shake hands. And if I said something like, it's about time, at being an old man in a urinal, I may have been speaking about something other than being inducted. I do first want to thank all of my friends and family members who are here tonight to help me enjoy this evening. And especially my son Mike, who's come from Ottawa, and I'm sure he's going to go through some painful memories of all the times that I dragged him around the city helping me with different events. So I apologize for that, Mike, but I'm so happy that you're here. And as was mentioned, he, by surprise, brought my brother from Ottawa as well. And it really is my brother that gave me my joy of sport. I mean, we spent thousands of hours playing, shooting hockey pucks at each other in the driveway, shooting hoops, playing football on the side yard. And we also did a lot of tabletop hockey. And we went by the King Clancy motto that some of the older people in the room will know: if you can't beat him on the ice, beat him in the alley. So we always had to have a wrestling match after the tabletop hockey game to see who was superior. I also would like to thank the 1970 admissions officers at Queen's University and Laurentian University who thought I was too stupid to be successful at those institutions. I don't know what their problem was. My grade 13 average was 59%, and that's a pass. What the heck? But, you know, thankfully, and to the young women that are here, like going to high school in the 1960s was hard. We had provincial exams that you had to pass. Anyways, fortunately, when you made out your application for a university in those days, you had three choices. And as I stood in the guidance office at Brookfield High School in Ottawa, looked up at the shelf of university calendars, and on a nice blue one on the spine, it read Lakehead University. I kind of knew where the Lakehead was. You know, we'd never driven past Toronto, having lived in Ottawa. That's what I put down for my third choice, Lakehead University. And the very visionary admissions staff at Lakehead University could sense my potential all that distance away. And so I've been so thankful that I ended up at Lakehead University, where it was so easy to make friends, and living in Thunder Bay for the rest of my life. And it was 1970 that I moved here, and as you all know, that was the year that Thunder Bay was born as the amalgamation of Fort William and Port Arthur. So I feel that I've lived in Thunder Bay as long as anybody else. I may not have the cultural background of somebody who grew up in Westfort or the East End or Current River, but I still feel myself as through and through Thunder Bay. Along the time, maybe around 1980 or so, Al Cranston recruited me to be a checkpoint leader at an event that was then called the Thunder Bay Ski Tour. So checkpoint leaders being in the bush and handing out water to the skiers as they go by. The one thing that Al didn't tell me was that my support crew was a group of Girl Guides. And the last place they wanted to be on a Saturday morning on a cold winter's day was handing out drinks. But 43 years later, I'm still involved with that event. The event eventually became known as the Sibley Ski Tour. And then when the park name changed, a few years later, we changed it to the Sleeping Giant Loppet. And I'm just in love with that event. Maybe you saw the pictures there of the participants, anything from 4 years old to 80 years old, everything from the beginning skiers to the elite skiers, many who have gone on to represent Canada in the Olympics. It's just such a valuable event for the community that I love being involved in. And of course, through all those years, my fantastic wife, Corrine, has supported me and backed me up in that event, doing many, many different jobs, and including in the early years, borrowing her father's truck so that I could load on porta potties to take to the event, the porta potties that had to sit out in front of the house for a couple of days, and thinking, what are the neighbors thinking about the plumbing in the Gallagher's house? So I have a lot of pride in that event. And being involved in the cross-country skiing community eventually led me to be a board member and a volunteer at the Canview Nordic Center. And a few years ago, we held the Special Olympics, the Ontario Special Olympics. I had some responsibilities for the snowshoeing event, so I was out getting ready the course for the sprints, and I had a can of green spray paint, painting lines for the event. As I went down and on a windy, cold day, my boots became green, the green started to creep up onto my pants, and one of the athletes came by and he said, "Hey, mister, you're turning into the Incredible Hulk." Just for the ladies, he said Hulk, not hunk. And I thought to myself, yeah, over 30 years I have been turning into the Incredible Hulk. One more story about my involvement with Little League Baseball. When I was coaching a 12-year-old team, we had a really good athlete on the team, but he was a little bit, well, he got confused or distracted easily. And one day we're playing, and he's playing shortstop for us, and about the 5th inning, we're up to bat, he gets a double. He's on second base, kind of in the ready position, and I'm watching this, and the pitcher's standing on the mound, he's looking down at the plate, and he looks back at our runner, and the runner doesn't move, and the pitcher takes a step off, the runner doesn't move, he runs over and tags him out. I'm thinking, so the kid comes off the field, and I say, Bobby, not his real name to protect his innocence, but what were you doing out there? Oh, sorry, he said, Coach, I thought I was still playing shortstop. I think I said something like, next time look down at your hand, if there's a baseball glove in there, run like hell back to the base. This honor has given me lots of opportunity to think about all the people who've been important in my life related to sports. And I'm going to make one example, or state one example. And that example is my high school football coach, Mr. Hill. And Mr. Hill had one rule above all the other rules, and that rule was you never walk on a football field. Never, ever walk on the football field. And this may sound a little goofy, but I've tried to use that as a bit of a mantra throughout the rest of my life. And whenever I felt lazy or maybe I didn't want to put the effort into something, I ran that phrase through my mind, and that helped me to pick up my butt and get moving. So thank you very much, Mr. Hill, and thank you for listening.
Our next inductee has enjoyed a successful coaching career, which has seen him lift hockey's holy grail not once, but twice.
This longtime coach began his involvement in hockey as a player, making his way up through the minor system in Thunder Bay during the 1970s. Playing alongside the likes of Tony Herkus and Norm McIver, no one could have imagined at that time that one day the trio would collectively earn 8 Stanley Cup rings. As a member of the Andrews Maroons AAA midget hockey team, he claimed a bronze medal at the 1983 Air Canada Cup National Midget Championship. From there, it was on to the Chatham Junior Maroons of the Western Ontario Hockey League before heading off to McGill University, where he served on their defensive line between 1985 and 89. Named Rookie of the Year, he served as captain in his final year and was awarded the Scarlet Key for recognition of distinction and character in his student activities. Spending a season in Germany and 2 seasons playing in the East Coast League, he decided to pursue a career in hockey off the ice, returning to Montreal and moving behind the bench, doing double duty as coach with the University of McGill and Loyola High School hockey teams and teaching. After 5 years there, he decided if he was going to follow his dream of coaching in the big leagues, he had to make a change. So in 1996, he packed up and moved to Maryland, going on to become an assistant coach with the Baltimore Bandits in the AHL. He never looked back. Moving into the NHL in 1997 with the St. Louis Blues as their video coach, he remained with the team for 9 seasons, taking on strength and conditioning, scouting coordinator, and assistant coaching duties. And from there, it was on to the Los Angeles Kings, where he was hired in 2006 as an assistant coach and their director of amateur development. For the next 6 years, he worked alongside GM Dean Lombardi, helping build and develop the team, taking them all the way to the top. That victory was made that much more special as it took place on the same day he and his wife Tina celebrated their 13th wedding anniversary. Following that success, he was tapped by the Chicago Blackhawks coach Joel Quenneville, who had given him his first job in the NHL with St. Louis, to join him behind the bench now as an assistant coach, sharing those duties with another Blues alumni, Mike Kitchen. Getting the old crew back together seemed to pay off as he added another Stanley Cup ring to his collection, becoming the first assistant coach in over 75 years to win back-to-back cups with 2 different clubs. Wanting to expand his experience, he took on the GM and head coach duties with the Portland Winterhawks of the Western Hockey League, serving with that team from 2014 to 2016, taking them to playoff spots in both seasons and reaching the Western Conference Finals in 2015. Returning to the NHL, he served on the Winnipeg Jets coaching staff from 2016 to 22. And just as his former Blues coach had done when he brought him to Chicago, when the Jets coach made the move to the Florida Panthers, he brought him along too. And that move proved to be a smart one as the team made it all the way to the 2023 Cup Final. When asked what makes a good coach, this 2-time Stanley Cup winner, who has been involved in the game of hockey on and off the ice for over 40 years, has a simple philosophy. You have to have a passion, you have to love what you do. Spoken like a true builder of sport.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the Northwestern Ontario Sports Hall of Fame, Jamie Kompon. Jamie traveled from Florida in between coaching this weekend to be on hand for his special night. Joining him are his wife Tina, his mother Sandra, and numerous relatives who are very proud of all that he has accomplished. We do have a message from someone who really wanted to be here, so sent a message along, actually to both Bill and Jamie. And the message says, firstly, congratulations to all of our 2023 inductees. Scheduling conflicts means that I can't be there with you today, but I know that all of you are having a wonderful time, one that you and your families will undoubtedly reflect upon for the rest of your lives. With 2 of this year's inductees, I have a personal history. Bill Seagris is a multi-sport phenom who is known throughout Windsor and Essex County as the best golfer in the region. More than that, he is a great sportsman, gentleman, and family man. Bill, congrats on this well-deserved honor. And Jamie Kompon was a skinny 16-year-old defenseman when I recruited him to play for me in Chatham, Ontario, many years ago. A lot of water has gone on under the bridge since then, including 2 Stanley Cup rings. Jamie, congratulations for your past success and all the best for your future endeavors in coaching as well. Boys, remember this. You are now in a Hall of Fame that even the great Bobby Orr doesn't qualify to enter. So, we've all got that going for us. Best wishes to one and all. Kindest regards, and that's from Vern Stenland, a proud alumni from 2015.
Well, this is quite an honor. First off, I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight, and I'd like to congratulate Bill, Peter, and Ryan, and the Thunder Bay Queens. It's just such a tremendous honor. And first off, that clip just brings back chills of winning the Stanley Cup. But having my name said here tonight brings the same kind of chills. I'm really proud to be here. I'm proud of where I came from. And a little funny story to start was I got nominated by a little side project that my mom and her friend Patty Simpson decided they were going to try and nominate me, and they went on this backroads thing, and I just kept on giving them, okay, put them at arm's length. And then about 6 weeks ago, I get a call from Dave, and we started talking hockey. So I'm like, okay, this is good. We talked hockey, and like an hour and 15 minutes later, I'm looking at my watch. I go, okay, I have to go meet someone now. Like, this is, Dave, it's great talking. Yeah, I got to go. And he goes, oh, by the way, you're going to be inducted into the Northwestern Sports Hall of Fame. And I was blown away. I am absolutely speechless. I didn't think I said a word to him after that. We were talking a mile a minute for an hour and 15, and then I didn't have a word to say for the next 5 minutes. And I just, I wish my brother could be here, my dad could be here, but my family's here. My mom, my wife, my cousin Joe, my cousin Bonnie, and their families, my cousin Tammy and her family, and to have family surrounding you and supporting you throughout is really important. And I don't want to ramble, but I just want to say this about Thunder Bay and my parents. My parents instilled in me, it's about hard work. It's all about how hard you work and what you do with that hard work. And as I reflect on my youth and what they instilled in me, that's Thunder Bay. That's the Thunder Bay community. You helped foster me into doing this, into being where I am today. And I decided to take a path that I thought was right for me. I took a chance, and Joel Quenneville thought kindly of me to give me a chance, and I paid him back when he gave me a second chance. And Paul Maurice gave me a chance, and he's given me a second opportunity, and we couldn't get it done this year, but I don't know if we'll get it done next year, but we're going to sure try. And I just want to say, this is not an easy life that I live. It may be glamorous. Yes, I'm in the NHL, but when you move as much as we do and the long hours, I can't thank my wife enough we moved 3 times in 3 years, and I didn't touch a box, just so you know that. But she's been there every step of the way, and what she's endured and what she's done for me, I never have a bad day in my life. I've never worked a day in my life. I love what I do. I have a passion for what I do, and I got my partner by my side with me. So I'd like to thank you very much for being here, and thank you very much to Dave and the committee for bestowing me this unbelievable honor. Have a great evening.
Our last builder of the evening has covered sporting events around the world in a broadcasting career that all started here in his hometown.
It was while growing up in Westport that this longtime sports broadcaster got involved in the world of sports, first as an athlete, then as a reporter. When his childhood friend Ken Fryer Nicholson was looking for a replacement to cover his sports reporter position at CJLX Radio during the mid-1960s, he stepped into the position, launching an on-air broadcasting career which would span the next 30 years. Eventually moving over to do both radio and TV at CKPR. His early broadcasting career saw him cover Little League World Series games, the 1967 Memorial Cup playoffs, numerous junior hockey games, and serve as a track announcer at Riverview Raceway, co-host a morning radio show, and spend time as the voice of the Thunder Bay Twins.
After the United States Hockey League final game, the Twins win at 9-1, and a brand new trophy, Barry Hogan. It's a beautiful one, and nice that the Twins are the first to win it.
Is it ever? That's really a nice one, Peter.
It's also pretty heavy. I tell you, carrying it around, it's a pretty heavy trophy.
I just about dropped it. It must weigh 100 pounds.
Ragsy, good season, and the scooter line tonight, the big tinker out there. Shut out tonight. Well, we played, we didn't get any goals scored against us, and that's an important part of the game, too. That's something somebody mentioned during the broadcast, that despite the fact that you hadn't scored, your line was really checking them into the ice, and you had them sort of mesmerized out there.
He did all of this while also attending Lakehead University, where he served as the sports editor of the Argus newspaper and teaching at Churchill High School, where he also helped coach their junior football team. Moving to Winnipeg during the summer of 1974 to pursue some further schooling, he did some part-time work with CKY TV, and after 6 weeks on the job, they asked him to remain as their sports director.
When you want to know about sports, you need to know about Peter Young. CKY Sports Director Peter Young knows sports. Peter's seen sports as an educator, coach, commentator, and competitor. His knowledge makes sports make sense. For sports Manitoba depends on, Peter Young's the one. See why on CKY.
It didn't take long before his on-air talents were called upon to handle WHA hockey telecasts and play-by-play announcer duties for Canadian Football League games, as well as host a CFL weekly highlight show on ESPN. As the primary CTV host for Wide World of Sports, he covered sporting events around the world, including 3 Olympic Games during the 1980s and over 100 broadcasts, often co-hosting with some high-profile personalities.
Eitan Boucher, and I guess the thrill hasn't worn off from Sarajevo.
No, I still think about the moment when I won in Sarajevo, and being here, especially with all the athletes in the Olympics here, it makes you feel like you would like to do it again.
Hello everybody, I'm Peter Young. Welcome to the Players International. Joining us as our analyst today, John Newcomb. Hello everybody, I'm Peter Young. Welcome to sun-drenched Montreal. Joining us on the telecast today, Billie Jean King.
Broadcasting for the Winnipeg Jets when they were in the WHA, including their 3 Avco Cup championships, he also handled the play-by-play for their NHL games.
I was down by the Jets dressing room when they went out with a pregame skate, and it was like college or high school rah-rah stuff. But John Paddock said to me after they'd gone out, it was a playoff fever, and this could be one of those first-round matchups.
Left side for Goulet. Goulet, the former teammate of John Paddock in Quebec, carries to the corner. Tyronek in front, and that's knocked away.
All throughout his broadcasting career, this Lakeheader has never forgotten his roots and looked forward to returning to Thunder Bay to cover events like ski jumping at Big Thunder, and he also enjoyed covering his hometown athletes as they competed on the world stage.
What a great thrill when you circled that track, though, and the crowd rose to their feet to give you that ovation.
Yeah, it is. It's, you know, they appreciated it, and it was nice. It really gets the hair standing on end.
Hold up that medal and give us a good shot of it, because that is something you're going to be very proud of. I know all of Thunder Bay is going to be very proud of it.
Yes.
Congratulations, Kurt. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Great job. Kurt Heine, the winner of a silver medal in the time trials. Peter Young reporting from the Velodrome.
Named the ACTRA Sportscaster of the Year in 1983 and a member of the Canadian Olympic Academy, he ended up his network broadcasting career in the early 1990s, going on to start his own production and sports consulting company, working with such teams as the Toronto Blue Jays. A broadcaster at heart, when the Winnipeg Goldeyes joined the Northern League in 1994, he was a little surprised that he could be found in the broadcast booth of the Winnipeg Stadium calling their opening baseball game. He also went on to help found a sport television network and get involved with basketball, hockey, and baseball franchises in Florida, Calgary, and Arizona. From his days of doing play-by-play of hockey games at the Fort William Gardens to traveling the world to cover sporting events, this longtime broadcaster truly represented his hometown with pride all along the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the Northwestern Ontario Sports Hall of Fame, Peter Young. Peter has traveled here from Winnipeg with his wife Marlene. His sons Brandon and Jason and their families have also traveled here to be on hand for his induction. Also here are members of his Thunder Bay family. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Young.
I got it here somewhere, Dave. Oh. Thank you very much. You know, when I got the call from Dave, the first thought that went through my mind was that the Wisconsin State Highway Patrol had finally caught up with us. You see, back in my last year playing hockey at Lakehead University, Dave and I were involved probably the biggest brawl in the history of the NCAA. I think I might have started it, but it ended up with state troopers coming into our locker room and asking us to get on the bus with our uniforms on, as the crowd was a little hostile. So when he called me, that was the first thing that went through my mind. But obviously, what an incredible honor when he finally told me the reason for the call, because I hadn't really probably talked to him in 50 years. Although I did see him coaching at that Purelator Cup when Bobby Hull and I broadcast from the same side of the Gardens that I did hundreds of Twins and junior games, and Dave was coaching the team from Thunder Bay. So first of all, I'd like to thank the selection committee, the executive of the hall, Jana Henry, who is like, I think, walks on the Cam River. She's the master of everything that goes along with this dinner. Cooch and Jeff, thank you. You know why. And obviously my former teammate at LU, Dave Siciliano. We played on the same team. Talent level, Dave, me. So obviously he carried the load most of the time. It was already mentioned, but I'd like to acknowledge my family and friends who are here. My cousin Gail Hansen, who I haven't seen in many years and is really my last living relative here in Thunder Bay. My brother-in-law, Len Smart, sister-in-law, Deb Smart, my niece, Amy Lowry, her children, Miranda and Sasha, who I haven't seen in about 7 or 8 years and are really growing up. And all the way from Melbourne, Australia, I came in for this event, and a Hall of Fame member with the 87 Twins, my buddy Kerry Goulet, the Gooch. So once again, thank you so much for that. And at our table, great friends from Winnipeg, Kristen and Al Caliber. Kristen was born in Fort William, so she's making a comeback in her hometown. Our 2 sons, Jason, who was born in Thunder Bay, and his wife, Jessica. Our son, Brandon, and his wife. You saw Brandon in the little clip. That was who we were holding in the skating thing. So I'd like to welcome him, my son, Brandon, and his wife, and one of our dear friends now, Catherine, and the most precious gift that I could have here tonight, my 6-year-old grandson, Alexander, making his first trip ever to Thunder Bay, has no clue what his papa used to do for a living. And just as precious, our 3-month-old, well, it'll be 3 months and 2 days, 3-month-old grandson, Everett. Finally, the girl from Brock Street, 1 street over from where I live, and who I married at St. Elizabeth Church in 1968, and who somehow has put up with me for 55 years, my wife, Marlene. You know, it's funny because you wouldn't think that my teaching and television career here in Thunder Bay really prepared me as much as it did for CTV. Johnny Esau, who was the director of sports at CTV, figured that because I had a phys ed background that I must know something about every obscure sport, which of course was not true, but I faked it, and because of that, I was able to pull off, you know, a number of broadcasts that you wouldn't think I had much expertise at, but I always just listened to my color commentator and learned a lot. And that included over 100 episodes of Wide World of Sports, including ski jumping right here from Big Thunder. It closed down now, but for years and years we stayed right here in this Valhalla hotel and did ski broadcasts from Big Thunder. And Frank Gartrell from Thunder Bay, also in the hall, was my color commentator. And then some obscure sport called speed skiing, where they would fly down the mountain and be timed over a 10-meter space, and that's how you determined a winner. So Roger Patola, who's here tonight, was my color commentator in that. So I just, once again, kept my mouth shut, listened to what the experts said, and by the end of the telecast, it almost sounded like we knew what we were talking about. So Roger, thank you again for that. And it's funny how when you're from Thunder Bay, it stays in your blood a little bit. And so my first couple of years in Winnipeg at the CTV network, anytime an athlete from Thunder Bay came through town, whether it was Gary Veneruzzo or Lee Fogelin Jr., my late great friend Lou Nistico, they were always the one that got the television time at my station. And so you know, all the other stations would be interviewing Gordie Howe, and I'd be interviewing John Shella, because it was always going to be the guy from Thunder Bay that got on the 6 o'clock news, and the rest of the network people are shaking their heads going, what is he doing? Well, he's just looking after his buddies from Thunder Bay that he grew up with. And so in that same vein, a humorous moment for me at least came when I was broadcasting the Sarajevo Olympics. And I was at the bobsled and luge venue. And we were all there weeks before the game started, and so a lot of the teams in the other sports would come up just to watch the guys go down the bobsled run. So one day I'm there and I see a team bus pulling in. I don't know what team it is or anything. And I see guys coming off the bus, and there's so many that it must be a hockey team. And out of the side, I see some guys and I hear, hey, Peter Young from Thunder Bay. I go, what? How could this be possible? And they come over and high fives and hugs, and it turns out it was Bob DiPiero and the late Tom Milani, who were playing for the Italian national hockey team. Who'd have thunk it, Italians in Thunder Bay? You know, it was mentioned in the clip, but my media career started when I was high school, when Penty Lund at the Times-Journal was the director there, or the director of the news department in sports at the paper, and he hired me to cover the nightly fastball games. And you'll like this story, because the last time I saw Penty, I'd been covering the Silver Broom in Perth, Scotland, and one of the perks was they took us to play around at Royal St. Andrews. And I got to play with Penty Lund, who was the guy that started me in the business. And the best, I've got a picture somewhere, I'm sorry he didn't send it here, but it showed it at the first hole, very flat course, by the way, and we're both holding up 4 fingers because we both parred number 1 at Royal St. Andrews. I shot 117. But I have that picture. Thankfully, Penty can't verify it, but we did both par that hole, and it's mentioned in the great picture in there. Man, this was one of my best friends growing up. He lived 1 street over on Christina. I was on Mary. But Ken Nicholson became my best friend because he had a car. And he used to let me tag along with him to CKPR, or rather to CJLX, to watch him cut tape and things like that. And people in the industry wouldn't know it, but back in the 60s, when we say cut tape, we actually cut the tape. You'd record an interview, and you'd have to cut it with a razor blade and splice it back together, and that's how you edited it, the same thing that broadcast students now do with 2 seconds on a computer. So I used to go along with Ken and watch him do this, and one day Saturday morning, he says, come on to the station this morning, there's a surprise for you. And so I get to the station, and he parades me into the office to meet the gentleman who was the owner at that time of CJLX, the late Bob McGowan. And what happened was, Mac McGowan. And so Mac says to Fryer, is he any good? And Fryer says, well, we're going to find out because he's got a sportscast in 15 minutes to do live. Like I'm 18 years old, man, and all of a sudden I'm doing a live audition, really. And the only reason was, I didn't know this, but Fryer had an opportunity to go to CKPR, and the only way this guy would let him out of his contract is if he found somebody who could replace him. And so there I was, 18 years old, and I'm the sports director of a radio station. So that sort of got me the start of the career. And when I was here, you saw some racquetball and stuff like that I used to play, but I always thought when I played here I was a great athlete, and I was wrong. I was probably mediocre, or maybe even less than mediocre, but I did play hockey at Wayland and at Tarbert Park outdoors. That's all we had in those days, and I probably hold the distinction because in a juvenile exhibition game, I think I have the I don't know how proud it is, but the proud distinction of having my nose broken by Bob Battleship Kelly, which was about one of the 10 times that that's happened. But it was great to play hockey here, and as I said, the level I played was nowhere near what Dave Siciliano or those guys played. I was a little bit better at fastball. I got relentlessly chirped by Larry Hebert because I was the first guy to wear white cleats. And the next year, almost everybody wore white cleats. But one night, I probably set a record for Thunder Bay. I was the losing pitcher for the Do-All-Ds at CPR Park. And I got the hook, and there was still 6 innings left or something, and so I drove down Edward Street to St. Martin's and put on the uniform top of Great Lakes paper, and I was the winning pitcher in extra innings. So I hold the distinction of being the only person probably in Thunder Bay to be the losing pitcher and the winning pitcher on the same night in organized fastball. I played high school football at St. Patrick's. I met some guys that were from St. Pat's today, some guys and girls, and that was coached by the late Pepe Dika, one of my heroes. Then I went to FWCI, and I played for Ted Murphy, and I was part of one of the most feared punt return teams in the history of high school football, because Cooch was my partner in crime catching the punts, and those days there was no blocking, of course, and so if the ball doesn't come to you, you might as well just leave because there's nothing you can do. So the ball would be kicked to me, and I'd yell mine, and Cooch would walk off the field, and I'd catch the ball and eventually get killed. And if the ball was kicked to Cooch, he would put up his hand and go mine, and then he'd see the guys coming at him, and he'd put his hands down and go yours. and so I'd run over and pick up the loose ball and get killed. So it wasn't a great high school career. But then I got to coach at Churchill and won a couple of championships there. One with Jerry Crusher Carlson, also inducted into the Hall, one of my great friends, and Bob Thayer, another phys ed teacher, and I had an undefeated season with the former mayor, Billy Morrow, as one of my students. And I still stay in touch with a bunch of those guys. In fact, I saw Fitz last night, and Russ Wakowicz texted me from Italy, where he's on a tour right now. And it's funny, I still call them my kids because they played for me, but they're all in their 60s or 70s now. But to me, they're still my kids because they played for me. And it's just great to think back of those days with so many great memories of, as I said, Jerry Carlson played for the Redskins with me, and the other coaches from Churchill High School. In closing tonight, though, as you saw I was fortunate enough to have a career that got me around the world many times. And I'm often asked, what was the most memorable moment of all those events that you covered that sticks out in your mind? And believe it or not, it was not broadcasting in the WHA with Gordie Howe and Bobby Hull. It was not my first NHL broadcast, which was from the Montreal Forum, where Pocket Rocket and John Beliveau were in the media room before the game. Not about 15 Grey Cup broadcasts or the 6 years I did the CFL. It was not watching Thunder Bay's John Jones cross the finish line at Indy and become Rookie of the Year at the Indy 500. It was not meeting Muhammad Ali 3 times, or later on George Foreman. Not broadcasting tennis with McEnroe and Connors at Maple Leaf Gardens. The first time I ever did a match, I once again told them I knew everything about tennis. I knew nothing. but I shut up and listened to the people that did for a week, and by the time we broadcast, I knew enough to get by. It was not working with Jackie Stewart or having that show on ESPN, and it was not, and this was so cool, standing right beside the dugout when Joe Carter hit the home run to win the World Series for the Blue Jays. And it was not watching Brian Dennehy appear in a movie with me for ESPN, or Al Hackner winning the Brier, which was a very cool moment when you were a kid from Thunder Bay. No, the moment in my career that sticks out the most came from the Olympics in Yugoslavia in 1984. We used to kill time in the evenings because we were out at a broadcast center about 20 miles from downtown, and we're basically, you know, in somewhat of a loss for statistics and things like that out there, because there was one TV in the cafeteria, and, you know, unless you were actually, we spent most of our time up in a mountain, so unless you were in the media village, you didn't really know, you know, if anybody won any medals. So after what seemed like 2 months in this very gray and depressing city, we'd go and watch third division hockey games in the evening to kill time because we had press credentials that allowed us in. So a buddy of mine take the train down from the media center to the hockey rink to watch a third division game. Cooch, you'd know what that's all about. Cooch also played in Germany and there was a star player. So we take this train down to the hockey rink, but the hockey rink was just behind the medal presentation area. But, you know, Canada had done nothing at the games, and so we just pushed our way through. But as we're pushing our way through, we hear a very distinctive sound, the same anthem you heard at the beginning of this event, the Canadian national anthem being played. And as we pushed our way further, we saw the Canadian flag being raised to the top pole, and pushed a little further, and we saw Gaetan Boucher with a gold medal around his neck, the first gold medal for Canada at the '84 Olympics. And that, my fellow inductees and friends, is my most memorable moment in sports until this moment right here. Thank you very much.
Our final inductees of the evening made history on the ice as trailblazers in women's hockey.
When the Thunder Bay Queens Midget AA hockey squad took to the ice for their 2009-2010 season, they had one goal in mind, making it to the Esso Cup, the National Female Midget Hockey Championship. This historic road to the Canadian Championships began at the 2014 Provincial Playdowns held in Mississauga in April of that year. Winning their three-game pool by shutting out their opponents, they advanced through the playoffs and earned a spot in the final against the Stony Creek Sabres. In a nail-biting matchup, the game was scoreless after regulation, with Michela Cava's wraparound goal at the 2-minute mark of overtime, clinching the win. Allowing just one goal in their 6-game run, the team's impressive victory marked the first provincial AA midget title for the Queens program. That victory earned them a spot in the National Championships in Regina, which featured 6 teams from across the country. Emerging from round-robin action atop the standings with 4 wins and a loss, they advanced to the playoffs. Defeating the Edmonton Thunder 2-1 in the semifinals, they punched their ticket to the national final, and there they would face the Notre Dame Hounds, who had an arena full of fans cheering on the home province favorites.
We'll start things off about 5 minutes in, and Notre Dame opens the scoring. Taylor Woods feeds Olivia Howe, who scores on the backhand. Hounds up 1-0 later in the period. Thunder Bay ties it up. Check out the moves by Kaitlyn Tougas. She goes through the defender's legs and scoops it in. This game's tied at 1 after 1.
Along their journey to the Nationals, the Queens had adopted the 2010 Olympic song, I Believe, as their own, and it proved to be a perfect fit when they found themselves facing a 3-1 deficit midway through the championship game. Not giving up, they fought their way back.
Oh, by Thunder Bay, centered. Kaitlyn Quarrell couldn't get a shot. Stays on the loose puck though. At the line, Courtney scores! Courtney Tougas!
There's that big shot.
What a goal.
Power play marker. Scampering to the bench for the Hounds, Jacqueline and Woods. Java being watched by Vespi to the front of the goal. Score! Michela Cava.
All tied up, the stage was set for some exciting third period action.
A number of power plays, and as a result, 4 power play goals. And now in a 3-3 tie, the Thunder Bay Queens have the man advantage. Courtney Tougas down to her sister, Kaitlyn Tougas. Back to Courtney. In deflection, scores! The sisters connect. Face-off will be in the Thunder Bay zone.
Still a lot of game left to play. 1 minute left.
Yes. It can't run quick enough for Thunder Bay. Slow enough for Notre Dame. Shot deflected off the crossbar. Clears it again. Tougas. Kaitlyn Tougas intercepts. Sends it back down low. And now here comes Galenders. Galenders down the left side. In on Iazzolino. Clears it in behind the net as it goes off a stick. Bounces in front, scramble. And it's grabbed off and taken away by Kaitlyn Tougas. Ahead for Kaitlyn Quarrell. And wide of the empty goal. But they will run out of time. In behind the net, picked up by Kaitlyn Quarrell. And the Thunder Bay Queens, for the second time this week, defeat the Notre Dame Hounds and capture the second ever Esso Cup.
The Thunder Bay Queens' 4-3 victory earned them the Esso Cup and a spot in the history books as the first women's team from Northwestern Ontario ever to win a national hockey title. Kaitlyn Tougas, who scored 2 of the team's 4 goals in that final, including the game winner, was named the tournament MVP, and Kaitlyn Quarrell the most sportsmanlike. Returning home to a hero's welcome as the city's newest national champions, this exceptional group of young athletes and dedicated coaching staff had a lot to be proud of. The members of this Canadian championship squad included Amber Butler, Michela Cava, Kylie Cornell, Michaela Coulter, Cronk, Haleigh Croves, Savanna Gamache, Jana Henry, Heroux, Brianna Iazzolino, Leikkari, Amanda Makela, Kaitlyn Quarrell, Taylor Savard, Courtney Tougas, Kaitlyn Tougas, Brittany Zuback, trainer and manager Crystal Tustian, assistant coach Randy LaPointe, assistant coach Denis Lavoie, coach Denis Lavoie. It was 13 years ago that the 2010 Thunder Bay Queens Midget AA hockey team left their mark on our region's proud sports heritage, and no doubt to them and to their many fans, it only feels like yesterday. Many of the members of this team remained involved in the game as players, coaches, and hockey volunteers, passing along their knowledge and love of the game and serving as role models to the next generation of young hockey stars.
Please welcome into the Northwestern Ontario Sports Hall of Fame the members of the 2010 Thunder Bay Queens Midget AA hockey team Esso Cup champions, starting with Amber Butler. Kylie Cornell. Michaela Coulter. Haleigh Cronk. Savanna Gamache. The team captain, Jana Henry. Heroux. Brianna Iazzolino. Leikkari. Makela. Assistant Captain Kaitlyn Quarrell. Savard. Courtney Tougas. Kaitlyn Tougas. Representing Assistant Captain Brittany Zuback is her proud brother, Adam Zuback. Trainer and manager, Crystal Tustian. Assistant Coach Randy LaPointe. Assistant Coach Daniel Lavoie. And Coach Denis Lavoie. Unable to attend tonight are Haleigh Croves and Michela Cava. Let's hear it for the members of the 2010 Thunder Bay Queens Esso Cup champions. Before we call forward the team's representative to speak, I would like to ask Chantel Keating, Dave Paddington, and Stacey Hutton from the Thunder Bay Queens Board of Directors to come up to the stage for a special presentation. When the team won their national championship in 2010, they were presented with a banner that hung in various arenas around town. But then it went missing. The current board of the Thunder Bay Queens reached out to Hockey Canada to get a replacement, and as luck would have it, it arrived this week. So we thought this would be the perfect time to present it to the team once again. I will now ask our photographer, John Sims, to take a group shot of the team. I will now ask team captain Jana Henry to come forward to speak on behalf of the team. Congratulations.
All right. My name is Jana, and I have the great honor tonight of representing the 2010 Thunder Bay Queens National Championship team and get to say a few words. It has been 13 years since we won gold at Nationals. At the time, we ranged from 15 to 18 years of age and went to different high schools across Thunder Bay. We loved to play hockey, and that brought us together. We competed at a high level of hockey, winning numerous tournaments and games throughout Canada and the US. Our team was immensely talented and full of character. We had goal scorers, hustlers, quiet and steady, feisty, goofballs, and everything in between. Not only were we talented on the ice, we just had this chemistry that was electric. I remember fondly all of the laughs, bus and plane trips, chicken and rice, so much chicken and rice, Dan, tournaments, practices, and games. It was our provincial win that meant we had the opportunity of a lifetime to represent Thunder Bay on the national stage. Our journey at Nationals wasn't easy, but we believed we could win, and we did. We went 4-1 that tournament, winning the final game 4-3. It was a come-from-behind win, and in the final minutes and seconds, it became more real it was happening. Bringing home the gold was surreal and such a proud moment for us all. The locker room afterwards was filled with emotion, tears and smiles as we embraced and sang our song, Believe. Our coaches, Dennis, Dan, Randy, and Crystal, were the best role models our team could ask for. pushing us to compete, teaching us new skills, and ultimately dedicating their time and energy to our development as hockey players and people. Thank you. I also look out into the crowd and see a lot of familiar faces of parents and family members. I'd be remiss to not thank you. You drove to practices and games, took time away from work and home to travel to tournaments, and supported us every step of the journey. You are our biggest fans, and the championship and this induction would not have been possible without you. Since then, our lives have taken many directions. Some continue to play hockey and have achieved many more accolades, continuing to play even at an elite level to this day. Many have gone on to build successful careers, complete further schooling, and build adorable families. Playing hockey with the Queens organization helped shape a lot of our paths in life. We paved the path for the Queens organization to receive national recognition for our program, city, and highly skilled hockey players. At the time, we may not have fully recognized the impact this had and continues to have for the next generation of hockey players. You all should be extremely proud of yourselves. Congratulations to the 2010 Thunder Bay Queens and this amazing accomplishment. May we all cherish the memories, this moment, and continue to celebrate each other's accomplishments. I know we will always be connected to each other and cheering each other on from afar. Thank you.
To close out this evening, we are pleased to welcome back to the stage Denise Krawchuk for a special tribute to our 2023 inductees.
Before I sing the song, it is a special song, and if you know the words, please join in. It won't offend me at all, okay? There comes a moment when our heart must hang alone on the lonely path I've chosen, like a house without a home. Sometimes when I feel I've had enough and I feel like giving up, you will me to be all I can be. Now nothing can stop me. I believe in the power that comes from a world brought together as one. I believe together we'll fly. I believe in the power of you and I. There comes a moment when we dream of all our lives. It is the place we come together. We stand proud for what is right. And in my heart there'll be no doubt. The world will start reaching out, and we'll meet to be all I can be. Now nothing can stop me. I believe in the power that comes from a world brought together as one. I believe together we'll fly. I believe in the power of you and I believe in the power of you and I. I believe, and you know this. I believe in you. I believe in, you. I believe in you. I believe together we'll fly. I believe
Thank you, Denise. Let's hear it one more time for our newest honored members. Bill Seagris, Ryan Parent, Peter Gallagher, Jamie Kompon, Peter Young, the members of the 2010 Queen's Esso Cup champions. Congratulations once again to our 2023 inductees. Thank you all for being a part of this evening in honor of sports excellence. Please feel free to come forward to the stage to offer your personal congratulations to our newest Hall of Famers. Good night, everyone. See you next year.